Talk about loading data into R. Of course, to load data in, we need to have data that we want to load. And so I'm going to begin by creating a data extract from the General Social Survey, in part because the General Social Survey will give me data in a few different forms. So that'll help me to practice. I'm creating the data extract here, and you can see that I've selected the Excel workbook, SPSS, SAS, we haven't talked about it in the textbook, so that's not as important, in this R script, and this data. And so we'll be able to walk through a few different examples. So I'm going to create the extract here. I will go ahead and download it. And I'm going to save it to my desktop so that it's easy to find. So the file has, they've compressed the files into a zip file. And so I need to unzip this folder before I can access the files individually. If I click on it, it's now giving me a different folder here, which I named my extract loading because that's the chapter this is going to go into. And if I open that folder, we can see all these different types of files. There's one .r, which is in R source code. We'll talk about that. There's the .dat, .spss, and .xls, which is Excel. You'll notice that there's none that is CSV. And so one option to create a CSV is we can open the .xls, which will automatically open in Excel. We can go and we can save it. And we can change the file format to a CSV. And so it's telling me that because there are multiple tabs down here, what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of those extra tabs down at the bottom, and I'm just saving the data as its own file .csv. And so I'll click OK. If I close that, and then I come back and I reopen this, again, I have the data as a CSV. And so I can load that into R as well as the .xls. So let me go ahead and open RStudio. So I'm going to open a new R script. And so let's start with the CSV, because that's the one of the easiest and most direct files to open. And so I will name this dat_CSV, and I'll use the command read CSV, and I will go and I need to tell R where is the file location. So it's on my computer, on the desktop, in the file named loading, and the file is named gss.csv. And so again, I know how to type that in because I have a lot of practice working with this. If I didn't know where my file was, I could go to the set working directory and choose directory, and I could look around on my computer and have it tell me where the data is. And so it's on my desktop. And then I would have set the working directory as this location, and I wouldn't have to type in the full file location. Or I can put the full file location into the read CSV. And so when I run this command, I've now got this file, dat_CSV. Put in the GSS data based on the files that they gave us. I know I warn against using files that are written into Excel, but when you get data from an online repository, if it's in an Excel format, generally it's going to be clean enough to read in, and so you don't have to have sort of the same concerns. It's more about creating your own data. And so we can use the package read Excel. We need to call in library read Excel. And then we can use the command read Excel with an underscore. So dat Excel, our command is read Excel, and then we just need to give it the name of the file. It's going to be in the same location as our above, so I'm lazy, so I'm going to copy and paste that and change the file format to XLS, and let's run that. And we've got essentially the same exact file. So that's the second way to load it in. In that, you don't have to go and resave it as a CSV. One other way we can create our file using GSS that's unique to GSS is that it gives us this file, this .r file, which is an R source code, a script, which we can use to actually create our data. And so if I open this, it's all this weird text that you probably don't recognize. What this file is doing is it's creating a package called, not a package, a command, read.dct. It's creating that, and then it's reading in this gss.dct file. And it's going to create your data out of that. And so the big thing you have to do is set your working directory for this folder. You need to tell it where that file is ahead of time. And so I'm going to set my working directory to my computer, desktop, loading. And when I run all of this text, all of this code, and I just run it, it's going to actually make my data for me. And so you see we've got this file, GSS, which is the exact same file as all these other ones. And so that's another way. One thing you'll want to note as I just flip through those, the column names are going to be different on all of these. And so you'll want to make sure that you know what the column names are in whatever file you use. But hopefully what you see is there's a few different ways you can load the data from GSS into R. None of them should be too painful, I hope.